Located at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas, Iron Rattler is the second hybrid conversion project by Rocky Mountain Construction. Before this ride was transformed, it was the legendary Rattler, a massive wooden coaster that practically towered over the entire park. Rattler was known to be extremely rough and was also notable for its long, slow helix. Now that RMC has taken over, this ride has been transformed into an intense hybrid coaster. Many coaster enthusiasts claim this to be one of RMC's best rides. Well, let's see how this ride adds up in my book with today's review. Presentation. Iron Rattler is well known not just because of how great of a ride it is, but also where it's built. This roller coaster is built alongside and on top of the quarry wall that surrounds Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. It's a very unique looking structure that can be seen throughout the entire park. It's rare to have a coaster that interacts with the terrain so well like Iron Rattler, which makes this ride special. The bright orange track really pops, but still going along with the color of the quarry wall. The roller coaster train is themed to look like a rattlesnake, which is a nice little touch to go along with its name. Other than the train, this ride has no theming, which honestly, I would be surprised if there was more theming since this is a Six Flags park. But for what it is, I think Iron Rattler gets a good 9 rating for presentation. The only thing that's really holding me back from giving it a 10 is the station. It's very bland. So yes, as a side note here with the station, when you're walking up the stairs going up because it's elevated off the ground, there's actually some really spots where it's really small and tight, which is a little different. But anyways, I was just throwing that in there for free. Intensity. Iron Rattler was extremely hyped for me, which can never really be a good thing because you can make a ride out to be so insanely good in your mind that it's only impossible for that ride to live up to those expectations. This unfortunately goes for Iron Rattler. I had this ride ranked so high in my mind that it ultimately fell short of those expectations. Of course, that doesn't mean that Iron Rattler is a bad ride. No, it's far from that. Before taking my first ride, I was expecting something in line with Sky Rush or El Toro, and Iron Rattler is not either. It's a semi-intense ride with a couple spots of strong negative Gs. The last turn after the tunnel also has some good laterals, which is actually one of my favorite moments of the ride. But back to the airtime, I was expecting a little bit more, but unfortunately I wasn't really super wowed with any of the airtime moments on this ride. It's good, don't get me wrong, just not fantastic. That very high bar, I was expecting it to leap over. So I might have been expecting Iron Rattler to have a 10 rating for intensity, but it's actually closer to an 8, which is what I'm awarding it. Fun factor. Well, just because Iron Rattler isn't the most intense coaster out there, that doesn't mean it's not fun. No, that couldn't be farther from the truth. Iron Rattler is loads of fun. The barrel roll is a solid, exciting moment of weightlessness that's just one of many highlights of this ride. There's a lot to love here, from the first drop, barrel roll, overbank turns, the tunnel. It's non-stop ride of excitement. Iron Rattler is a great coaster to marathon. I think I rode it a few times near the end of the day. I just couldn't leave. I wanted to keep riding it and riding. So I know you might be wondering now why I think this ride is loads of fun after I didn't feel like it met expectations. Well, it's not the intense super machine I was expecting. Instead, it's a solid, fun attraction. After you get through those first expectations, you can enjoy the ride for what it really is. And Iron Rattler is a fun ride, which I think it earns a solid 10 rating. Originality. Being the second ever hybrid coaster by RMC, Iron Rattler is very original. The terrain alone makes this coaster a one-of-a-kind experience. Before this coaster was transformed, Rattler was one of the tallest and fastest wooden coasters on the planet. Now it's one of the tallest and fastest hybrid coasters, though that will change soon with some of the new projects coming down the line by RMC. Unfortunately, if there's one negative I will throw out here, is how short this ride feels. When you make it back to the top of the quarry, it slows down a bit, which is actually a nice change of transition, but once you dive back down, you pick up some great speed, only to be greeted shortly by the brake run. Honestly, I think it would have been tough to extend it out any longer, so it's not really a big deal, just something I felt worth mentioning. I will give Iron Rattler a score of 10 for originality. Smoothness. Rocky Mountain Construction are known for their butter-smooth rides, and Iron Rattler is no exception. It's a smooth experience from beginning to end, which obviously makes this a great contender for marathoning. No headbanging, no rattle for Iron Rattler, but yeah, it's just a great smooth ride. So of course it's getting a 10 rating for smoothness. Alright, the final score comes to 9.4, which is a great score. Iron Rattler is a coaster that I think every coaster enthusiast should experience. It's fun, unique, and has good airtime, though not the best airtime. So, for my personal score, I'm giving Iron Rattler an 8.5, which is still a good score. As I mentioned already, this ride was hyped way too much for me before riding, which is, in most situations, only allows one direction afterwards, and that's disappointment. Well, for my Coaster Radio listeners, anticipantment. Anyways, I really want to make a point here to say that Iron Rattler is a good ride. By no means is it bad. If I were to rank my top 10 coasters, I don't think it would make it onto that list, but it would be a heavy contender for my top 20. Though my ranking seems to change by the day, Iron Rattler is the complete experience, just not overly crazy by any means. It's a solid, fun, and unique ride that I think you need to check out. Well, thank you for watching today's review. What do you think of Iron Rattler? Am I being too critical? Let me know in the comments. As always, please subscribe. Check out my other content and follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, which I never post there, but yeah, go and follow me.